let's get right to it. We have a wonderful Monday night stream here. Let's see. We have we're gonna do another two-parter. I don't want to just do Naruto. So to supplement that, I'm like, hey, you know what? We're on an odd one out roll, sorta. Let's knock out a couple more episodes. And by roll, I mean today starts the roll. In theory, right? We did a week or so ago, I think. Was it a week ago? Something like that. And now the streak starts. Now the streak starts. So yeah, we'll get to Naruto here. A bit of Naruto. Probably won't be super long stream, all considered here. Interesting couple episodes here, potentially. We have first 6 biracial people versus a secret white person. Okay. And then we got a curveball here on the second one. We have 5 anti-vaxxers versus 2 fakes, which throws me for a loop for a couple reasons. First, it's one of the 2 fakes situation. And second, I would generally think, I mean, I'm gonna be interested to see, but usually I would have thought the Jubilee thing to do would have been the reverse of that. 2 anti-vaxxers mixed in with 5 not anti-vaxxers is what I would assumed Jubilee would have done, but they didn't. They've reversed it on me. As I was prepping of the episodes just a few minutes ago, I was like, oh, it's mostly non-anti-vaxxers. And then, no. It's not the case. Mostly anti-vax. So I'm sure it's going to be great. Let's get Mind Your Ears. I didn't test audio. Let's go right into it.
I am somebody.
He does everything to get us to college.
All that I care about is winning.
Wait, is this a movie tie-in advert thing? Back a while back when this first appeared?
I am somebody.
We brought together 6 biracial people.
I'm biracial.
I am biracial.
I'm biracial.
I'm biracial.
I'm biracial.
I'm biracial.
All right, here we go. I get to try to guess people that are biracial or not, just on looks. Non-problematic at all.
We brought together 6 biracial people.
I'm biracial.
Devon or hold off on him.
Racial.
I am biracial.
I think Ella's biracial.
I'm biracial.
I think Caitlin's biracial.
I'm biracial.
I think Daria is biracial.
I'm biracial.
I think Austin is biracial. Well, I think Austin's biracial.
I'm biracial.
I think Hannah is biracial.
Racial.
I think I have to go with the first guy. Devon?
One of them is white. If the group discovers
Locking
who
that
the
in.
liar
First
is,
point.
They'll split
First
a
pick.
cash prize. If the liar survives, they win the entire prize. Who is the odd one out?
I don't actually know the stats. I didn't do enough research, but I feel like moles recently have not had much luck in the odd one out episodes. I think we're on quite a non-mole, or I should say mole losing streak. I also did not win any episodes last week when we did this, so I need to bounce. I need to bounce back just as much as the moles do.
So should we start with what do you mix with?
Yeah, what's your ethnic background?
Basically, my mom is Indian and then my dad is white. So
I'm actually really regretting my pick.
I'm Indian, basically. Yeah.
I'm half Taiwanese, half white.
That's cool. I'm half Korean, half white.
Okay. I'm a fourth black, and then my mom's white.
I'm half black and half French, but white.
I was kind of suspicious of Daria and Ella. The hair, I felt like it was kind of a distraction. Like, as a ploy.
I'm half Native American and half Mexican.
How did your guys' parents meet?
My parents met at a movie theater. My mom was working there and my dad like came in and he just had a crush on her, so he'd always keep coming back and just watching movies, so it's really
Adorable.
wholesome.
My dad was a tennis coach at University of Central Missouri, and my mother was an international student learning tennis, so that's how they met.
International student. He threw that in there. Okay, I see it.
She said, "Oh, you mentioned international students, so I thought she was targeting me."
This starts getting defensive. I would get defensive too. What the hell are you coming at me for?
So I thought, okay,
Back off.
maybe she's the mole.
My parents met in grad school. They both went to Georgia Tech. My dad's from Georgia, but my mom immigrated from France to go to grad school in the US. So they just met each other in like the engineering department. My parents met at a barbecue. My dad was in the military, so he was in Osan Air Base in South Korea. And my mom was at that barbecue because she lived near Osan. She would tell me about it. She was like, yeah, I thought Americans were really weird because your dad showed up in shorts and flip-flops and a button-up tee with like a Russian bear hat, and it was winter. And they're just like, and then you ended up marrying him. She's like, yeah.
My parents met in LA, which is like the mixing pot, so it makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
She had said that her parents had met in LA, but she didn't really elaborate on that. Everyone else had kind of gone into more detail about their parents.
She is okay, so it's one of those things where she has now made a couple instances where you're like, it seems a little sketchy, right? But they're allowing during these interviews of the people saying, oh, this person seems really sketchy. We're getting it at least a couple times here. So much so that you then start trying to get into the psychology of things, and you're like, would they air the interview sections where people were like, oh, that person's really sketchy? Would they want you to try to tip you off that much that person might be the mole? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying.
And I felt like that was a
So that's tricky.
little strange.
My parents are both from Arizona. They met, I would say at a bar, I think. So yeah, my mom is from like the Navajo Nation reservation.
We got through the questions.
Okay, we got through the questions. That's good. I was just noticing that she seemed nervous and she didn't have a lot of details.
On a most simplistic standpoint, Ella looked the whitest, even though obviously it's not truly about that.
It's tough. Like, I could see the argument for Ella, like I was saying earlier. It's just... I don't know. My second pick is feeling like I want to lean towards her. Or... I don't want to pick her. I don't want to pick her. I do not. I don't feel confident about any of these picks. I forget her name, but I'm going to pick her as my second pick.
We have a three-way tie. Between Ella, Caitlin, and Daria. You guys are gonna have 30 seconds on the clock to just kind of prove your case.
So my hair, I have an afro normally, but it's all braided and I added in extensions just because it's easier, but I have 4B curls, which I would only know if I was mixed. I get that from my dad. Everything else is white because, I mean, my dad's half Belgian and half black, and then my mom's fully white, so I just unfortunately am Xerox paper and I don't even tan. But it's all in my hair, I promise.
My mom's from France. She's from a place called Rennes in Brittany. And then my dad grew up in Devereaux, Georgia. But I actually also grew up in Arizona because they moved there and had me and my younger brother, younger sister. My sister and I are kind of the
I guess technically I went too soon. I could have listened to these arguments and I could maybe switch my second pick if I really care to.
That's what my brother actually looks like. He's black.
Technicality,
so, yeah,
you know?
Weird liminal space to be in.
What I was going to say before is that my mom is from the Navajo Nation Reservation, and my dad is Mexican. He just grew up in Arizona, so, you know, I have equal, like, balances in both, I guess. Yeah.
Not a good job of convincing. Not a good convincing job, I must say. That was...
She started, you know, kind of giggling or laughing in her story, and I thought, there's something suspicious here.
Dang. All right. Good luck, guys.
You know what? I'm going to keep her as my second pick, but I'm now feeling... I'm looking at the rest of the characters because I spent the last round looking at everyone else, act-wise and everything, and now... I'm reversing. I feel kind of good about my first pick for some reason. He was able to stay like quite under the radar that first round.
The fact that I'm pale, I thought, you know, might have gotten me voted out.
Raise your hand if you think the mole is still in the
There's
box
a lot of pale
and you
people
wish
up there.
to continue the game.
I had a question because you said that you're growing up Quappa, because you're a quarter, right?
Oh, that's what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
That's good to know. Put that in my back
I
pocket.
have a friend that's.
Wait, let me say that again.
Because you said that you're growing up Quappa,
A hybrid of quarter and hapa refers to a person's cultural ethnic identity as being quarter or 3/4 or something. Okay.
Sorry, because you're a quarter, right?
Oh, that's what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
That's good to know. Put that in my back
I
pocket.
have a friend that's Quappa, but I guess what was that like for you as far as I know as like a biracial person? It's like you feel like an imposter in your own culture sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm the lightest of me and my siblings. I have a younger sister who's like the color of Rihanna, and then my brother is super tan. And so then there's me, white girl with a giant afro, and people are always like, how is your hair so frizzy? I'm like, well, it's curly, it's an afro. You know, explaining to people like who I am. It was hard at times, but then I also was really proud that I got to say like, oh, I'm part black. Like that's why I have this cool hair. But it took me a while to really love who I am.
Have the rest of you guys felt like that before too, or?
One thing I felt is like, I've actually been to India like multiple times, and whenever I go, I'm like the lightest one there, so I just don't feel Indian at all, really.
He said that he had been to India and he just kind of threw that out there. And that felt really quick and just like but there wasn't any detail to the story.
Yeah, for me, being from Colorado, my experience is always being too Asian to be white here in Colorado, but here at UCLA, where I'm at right now, where it's a lot more diverse, I'm feeling like sometimes I'm too white to be Asian. So no matter what, I always feel exclusion from one side, and I think that's one of the struggles or like one of the experiences of being biracial.
I don't know. I think when I was younger, I was a little more ambiguous looking. Like people would kind of joke I was like a chameleon growing up because I didn't look the same every couple of years. But it was like, I would always get like made fun of a lot by like other Korean students who would say like, there's like slurs for like biracial people. And so it was always like, oh, people like you just shouldn't exist and stuff like that.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Still here.
I grew up in predominantly white neighborhoods my whole life. And I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak Navajo. I never had a quinceañera, so not really like 100% in like each culture.
Yeah. For me.
Maybe I'm so wrong here, but I'm feeling more and more confident about my first pick, Devin.
Growing up mostly with my mom's family, who's majority.
I just feel like it's hard because that one lady left, but like everyone else but Devin in here seems has that odd one out authenticness.
Pretty white, and then my dad's family was
In my
further
opinion.
away, so soul food and all that stuff I kind of missed out on, and I got to kind of explore later in life, but that's something that I always wish I had.
I'm glad we all got to talk.
Yeah, that was a good discussion.
His like
The Hannah pick is interesting. Maybe
story was not as consistent. There were some things that had some detail and then some other things that were a lot less detailed.
So my 2 picks are the first 2 out.
Sucks
reverse
to
order.
lose, but it's all good.
Raise your hand if you think the mole is still in the box and you would like to continue.
Are they going
the
again?
game.
When the group eliminated Devin, I think we found them all. I think we're good now.
If the light
Wow, they're going again. So that they're not going again. If it goes green, I win because my 2 picks were the ones that were sent out. If it's red, I automatically lose. I don't even have to see who it
turns
is.
green,
Oh
that
God!
means you have voted the mole out and you all win. However, if the lights turn
I'm scared.
red, that means the mole is still in the box and you lose.
It's racing.
I need to win. Turn green, please. Oh, we're so back. Oh, we're so back. Oh, we're so back. I'm too excited for no reason.
Yeah.
I'm too excited. I shouldn't be this excited, but I am.
Oh, please
God, I feel like I haven't won in forever.
reveal themselves in
If it's
3,
Devin,
2, 1.
Oh, a solid second pick. A solid second pick, even though she was eliminated. It's always risky picking the person who got picked eliminated first and then locking them in as your second pick always feels like it's kind of risky. Oh, what a recovery by me. What a recovery by me.
I'm Lebanese, Arab, Middle Eastern, which is technically white in the U.S. People from North Africa, so like Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria, etc., and people from the Middle East are considered white on the U.S. Census. So it really goes to show how arbitrary the term white is in the ways in which it's applied to people.
I always think it's silly that on the census it's, black, white, Asian. The categories are so limited. And so when I'm doing the census, I just put white because I look like I'm white. It just goes to show you that no matter what somebody looks like
That's
you
a
could be
win, baby.
biracial, like your hair,
That's a win,
I would've
baby.
thought, okay, I could believe that you're mixed because you have the curly hair, but you never know.
Yeah.
Okay, said,
Woo!
I always wanted to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta perfect this.
Of course, the money.
That was really
All right. I feel like I'm going to be less successful in this one. This one's going to, in theory, should be a little bit harder. Not only numbers-wise, but also just you're basing most of your picks on looks. So remember, so it's 7 people, 5 against 2. I have to win. I have to get both fakers. And I pick 3 people, a total of 3 people. So I see everyone, and I have to pick 2. I then get the first round, and I pick 1 more, because I can't pick more than 3, because if you pick 4, you're picking more than half the cast. That seems unfair. That's an unfair advantage to me. If anything, it needs to be slightly unfair to me. So I pick 2, and then because of that, I have to, in my first initial pick of 2, at least one of them I have to pick is correct if I want a chance of a win. That is the rules I set myself. Let's go.
I'm anti-vaccine.
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 God, it's so weird. It is very weird to have the majority be anti-vaccine, and then I'm anti-vaccine.
Anti-vaccine.
And I'll get this out of the way. There could be many reasons people are anti-vaccines. Do I agree? Do I, on principle, really agree with any of that? No. But I'm gonna say there's a chance that I would say there's probably a good chance we're gonna see someone who tries to. There's varying reasons why I could assume someone's gonna be anti-vax, in this group. So yeah, it'll be.
I'm anti-vaccine.
No, it's unfortunate I'm not getting names.
Vaccine.
Anti-vaccine. Anti-vaccine.
Anti-vaccine.
Anti-vaccine. Anti-vaccine.
2 of them are liars. This one's so dramatic. Jesus. They knew they were playing. The Jubilee knew they were playing with a hot button issue, especially at this time. What year was this? This is, I don't want to scroll too far down, obviously. Don't want to spoil. I mean, it says 2 years ago. If I think I expand. July 8th, 2022. They knew they were playing with fire here. Wait, do I get a... Oh, I don't even get names. We don't even get... I don't even get pick names. Okay. I think she is anti-vaccine. So I'm going to go... I'm going to say hair color, shirt. So black hair, purple top, anti-vaccine.
Anti-vaccine.
A black cap, white shirt, anti-vaccine.
Anti-vaccine.
Brown hair, black shirt, anti-vaccine. I have to pick 2? Ugh.
Anti-vaccine.
I think I'm gonna pick her for my first pick. So this is like, you know, darker hair, white top.
Vaccine.
I think he's anti-vaccine.
Anti-vaccine.
I know there's one more person after this. I need a...
Anti-vaccine.
I think she's anti-vaccine. So I'm going orange shirt and I'm going white top, white shirt. Those 2 for my first 2 pick. This is going to be tough. This is tough. Just based on looks and how they say I'm anti-vaccine. All right, let's let it play out. It's a longer episode. Look at this. This is 16 minutes. Last one was 9 minutes or so. So we're... settle in. Get comfortable. Gonka gonka gong. Anti-vaccine.
I am not vaccinated.
All contestants were tested for COVID-19 prior to filming. Very funny to put that right before the episode. I assume that was the same case for the last episode. But it didn't have that warning there, at least on the... I bet you... I'm not going to try to find it, but... I bet if you try to find, like, it maybe has it in, like, the description, too, but it's just funny that they put it front and center here at the start of the episode on this thing. All right, put them in the box. Let's go.
I haven't been vaccinated.
I didn't hear what she said. My bad.
I am not vaccinated, and I haven't been vaccinated. And I have 2 kids. They haven't been vaccinated either, and that's all vaccines.
The whole COVID pandemic kind of woke me up.
Feels like this.
No. All right. This is what I was hoping. This is what I was hoping I was not not gonna hear tonight. When I pulled up the 2 episodes and I got anti-vax, I was like, oh god, here we go. And then the second guy goes, what did you say? Plant? I'm already forgetting the term, but.
And I have 2 kids.
All right. She has 2 kids. Completely
They
unvaccinated.
haven't been vaccinated either, and that's all vaccines.
All vaccines.
Whole COVID pandemic.
Plandemic. I was really hoping... His name is Nico. I'm cutting it off. So Nico says the term plandemic. Now, like I said, I picked him as an anti-vax. There's people like that, unfortunately. But... I gotta say, if he is the mole and he's a fake anti-vaxxer and he throws out the plandemic thing, good on him for swinging. Try to fake being an anti-vaxxer so quick with saying plandemic. Ooh.
Kind of woke me up.
Woke him up. Blonde girl in the back can't even help but laugh when she heard that. Bruh. It woke him up. The plandemic. Oh, is he going to be the most obnoxious one on this?
It feels like discrimination when I tell people I'm anti-vax or I haven't been vaccinated.
I'm a pharmacist, and when they put in with the COVID vaccination...
That sound effect and exclamation. That's
discrimination when I tell
his...
people I'm anti-vax or I haven't been vaccinated.
I'm a pharmacist, and when they put in with the COVID vaccination, I just felt really uncomfortable.
Okay.
It's just made me open my eyes to how many things are in vaccines and how much we don't discuss them in the medical community.
This is gonna be, I feel, for me personally, this is gonna be a tough 16-minute watch. Alright, keep going.
My anti is toward COVID vaccines. Actually, truth be told, the rapid test we just took was the first COVID test I've ever taken.
Cool.
I refused to take a COVID test. The vaccine was pushed.
What is... Maybe he's going to answer here in the next 5 seconds. I doubt it. But he says, like, he doesn't want to get tested. I don't know. I mean, I would assume anti-vaxxing people don't have a problem getting tested, though, right? Like, they don't think there's anything weird about the test itself, unless they're just so defiant, right?
COVID vaccines. Actually, truth be told, the rapid test we just took was the first COVID test I've ever taken.
I mean, I could say during, like, peak, I would probably make the argument that potentially, depending on what this gentleman was doing, probably... I mean, I'll come out and say, fuck it. It seems quite irresponsible and a bit more on the selfish side. But, again, I have to realize there are people that are like this on a day-to-day basis. Every day.
I refused to take a COVID test. The vaccine was pushed so that they could rig the election. And that.
All right. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is it. Like I said, I'm not trying to be dramatic. It's just if there's one thing that I think should hopefully at this point come across on the streams, if it hasn't already, but should now, because I'll come out right and say it. I just really am not a fan of, for lack of better terms, stupidity. Just in general. And again, I don't even think of it much as like a disagreement on certain things. I think it's more just like I have a pretty low tolerance, I think, for in general, like close to or actual like conspiracy theory type shit. Conspiracy theories used to be fun. Just in general, like the fun ones, like Avril Lavigne has been replaced. That one's fun. What conspiracy theories are now in today's world? Just completely unfun. And this is, I would categorize it as that. If you're thinking, well, that's not really a conspiracy theory. It's just, what do you think? Well, no, it's dumb. Come on.
That's personally my belief. So you COVID test I've ever taken.
Oh, like a producer asked him something here. Follow-up question here.
The vaccine was pushed so that they could rig the election, and that's personally my belief.
So you believe the election was rigged?
I believe it was, yes.
Oh, that's a fun combination here.
Cool.
Growing up.
Cool. The producer says cool.
I got most of my vaccines, however, I especially did not want to get the COVID vaccine. The media censorship was the biggest start to me kind of, like he said, waking up to this.
We know ourselves better than going into a doctor who only sees us for a few minutes at a time.
You said you...
I'm hurting.
For a pharmacist?
Yeah.
Did you leave your work? You kind of implied that.
Yeah. With the increase of the vaccine mandate and having it required for the rest of the chain. So I actually have a family member that does work from home from an independent mail order pharmacy, and she got me a gig there. And since then, things have been pretty chill.
So you left willingly? They didn't like ask you to leave?
Yeah.
So I started as a teacher in elementary school, and they actually asked me to leave because it was mandated that you had to be vaccinated to be in like a group of kids. So that was really frustrating for me because working with kids is a big passion of mine.
How dare they?
And the fact that I was fired from my career.
I need to stop pausing because it's clear. It's clear this 15 minutes is gonna go even slower. But like, boy, I guess I'm stewing. You know what? The only justice I hope at the end of this is that the two fakes that end up coming out, I hope they just make it. I hope the anti-vaxxers. I mean, I can say this. I hope the anti-vaxxers don't get the money. I also hope they don't win. I also hope that, yeah. I hope the moles have like, whichever, like I said, there's a part of me that wants like the guy in the middle to be the mole, or the guy in the white to be the mole, and they're just like, they've got the dumb talking points down.
Career just because of a personal choice is like really upsetting to me.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very passionate about this issue now.
I was actually asked to leave nursing school. I started for a month and then they accepted my religious exemption, and then a month into it said never mind. So
Yeah, I lucked out because I go to college in Oregon, and at first they were like, no, you can't come in here without a vaccine and everything, but I was able to get the philosophical exemption.
Yeah, bruh. All right, Nico.
And then they wanted to test me weekly, and I was like, no, like I'm not doing that. And then after kind of going back and forth, they were like, okay, like you're fine.
The problem is, there's, I know it's not the case, but there's a part of me that wants to be like, fuck. I'm hoping like at the end, not that I actually think this is going to be a twist, but there's a part of me that's like constantly keeps thinking that it's the reverse, that it's mostly non-anti-vaxxers in the box. And I have to keep telling myself, no, unfortunately, most of the people in this box, I very fundamentally don't agree with, and it's unfortunate, and it sucks. It's awkward. Now, who do they get rid of? I'm curious.
I wrote Brian because in the waiting room we were joking that his name was Brian and not Ryan, and then
That's okay.
Okay.
he was able to get a philosophical exemption, which I had never heard of.
There's no way you could get away with not.
Oh, well, wouldn't it be cool if they were all actually moles, and then that's like the fun reveal at the end? I mean, it wouldn't really do much, because the thing is, no matter what I feel about these people in the box, the unfortunate thing is there are people that feel like this and are many times worse and everything, opinion-wise, and will say even worse things or think even worse things and are just generally worse. So, like, even if it ended up being like, oh, fuck, like, it wouldn't make me feel any better.
Not having a COVID test.
Most people have
Philosophical exemption, which I had never heard of.
If he was faking about that, I don't think he would have made that up a philosophical thing, a philosophical exemption, if he didn't look it up and make sure it was a thing. Oh.
Not having a COVID test.
Most people.
God, I keep cutting her off. I keep wanting to hear what she says.
There's no way you could get away with not having a COVID test.
Most people have gone through at least one by now. We've been like 2 years in.
Yeah, get rid of him just because he's a dumbass.
I could not believe that I got voted out first round. If anybody is the mole, it's not me, that's for sure.
How has
That's exactly what the mole would say.
not being vaccinated affected like your guy?
Oh, I have to pick a third. Okay. So I picked... two women, right? I picked white and orange. You know what? Fuck it. My third pick, guy who just got sent out. He's laying on a bit strong.
Could not believe that I got voted out first round. If anybody
Because
is
fuck
the
it.
mole, it's not me.
I'm not gonna
that's
win.
For sure.
How has not being vaccinated affected like your guys' personal relationships, like friends and family?
I had to miss a wedding that I was really excited for one of my friends back in Indiana. She ultimately decided to ask everyone to be vaccinated because her grandparents were there, which I completely understood, but it was really heartbreaking to not be a part of that special day with her.
Yeah.
One side of my family refused to see me, so that was kind of disheartening. And I feel like people tie certain political views to my personal idea not to get vaccinated. I'm not a right-wing extremist, which I feel like a lot of people are associating me with. I am not just someone who is not vaccinated. I actually have natural immunity. I have contacted the virus before, and multiple studies have shown that natural immunity actually lasts longer as far as resiliency. I have contacted the virus before, and multiple studies have shown that natural
Protection against reinfection by Omicron afforded by past infection may be as low as 19%. Nice little nice little blip there. Oh, it's cut off, so yeah, I'll read it again. The protection against reinfection by Omicron afforded by past infection may be as low as 19%.
natural immunity actually lasts longer as far as resilience to contacting COVID again. The right to our own body is
I'm like, smite me if I'm wrong, but God, she gives off the energy of like an annoying anti-vaxxer, I must say.
the opposite of tyranny that would normally be associated with that.
Yeah, I'm very libertarian leaning.
Heck
so
yeah.
My ideas aren't like.
Wait, I gotta see that graphic again.
Associated with that.
Yeah, I'm very libertarian leaning.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. Fiscal conservatism plus social liberalism equals friends for life. Driver's license are for the weak. Whoever did the editing on this is really taking the piss out of some of these people, and part of me enjoys that.
My ideas aren't like I line up with a Republican or Democrat. For me, it's
Yes.
just we should have the ability to decide what we want to do.
Yeah, and I just think it's scary too when the government starts to say like they're doing this for your own health and their safety, and it's just funny like how all of a sudden the government started caring about your health. Wouldn't they have banned like smoking cigarettes like years ago? So like it just seemed like a lot of censorship too, like to not be able to like other information about like side effects. I have a few friends who had like some bad side effects, but you can't, once you post that out there, it's censored.
Yeah, I saw the videos back then. The people that were like shaking a bunch, they're just in the beds and on the couches and stuff. Their legs just wobbling to and fro.
Even the VAERS report, there's thousands of reports of people with.
VAERS is the nation's early warning system that monitors the safety of vaccines after they are authorized or licensed for use by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Like vaccine side effects, and people pretend like that's not a reality.
And I think it's interesting how they care about our health and everything, but they say nothing about nutrition, sunlight.
They say nothing about nutrition. They say nothing about sunlight.
Working out, going to the gym, getting outside, and being around people that love you and stuff like that. Like that.
I've heard enough out of Nico. Even if he's the mole. I've heard enough. I've heard enough out of him and his hair.
That's good for your health. Instead, they lock us in a room with like artificial lighting and paint and don't get sunlight.
Ah, the artificial lighting in the paint.
Don't get to talk to people. Yeah, and then they put a mask on us, which is not healthy at all.
Nico was throwing out a lot of buzzwords. He kept saying pandemic, and I think he said jab. Very much so.
Yeah, the problem is, that's tough because, as I was saying earlier, those buzzwords could go way either way. Either he's the mole, like an obvious mole, and he's just hitting those words to be obvious about it and try to be, oh, look how anti-vax I am. Or the problem is, a lot of anti-vax people that are like this, that is how they talk, unfortunately, now. That is all they know how to talk. Like, it's
It looked like he was making a character, and he was really trying to hit all the buttons. I was teaching first grade, and a lot of those kids, because of the COVID lockdowns, they had never had any social experience for the past 2 years. And to act like that isn't detrimental to their social health, to their mental health, it very
Where'd you
frustrates me.
teach? What?
San Bernardino County.
Okay. I was saying I personally don't think that it's really anybody's business if I've been vaccinated or not, and I don't think that I should not be able to go certain places, eat certain places, or even enroll my kids in school because they haven't been vaccinated. It's just not, it's not fair, and it's like really nobody's business. It's my health, you know.
You said none of your kids don't have any vaccines, right? How did that affect them, like getting into school?
Well, they're 3 and 2 months, so
okay.
they're not old enough yet. But yeah, I haven't been vaccinated either, and it hasn't affected me in any way. When I get sick for like 1 or 2 days, and then I'm done.
Great. I'm unvaccinated. I get sick. I'm sick for a day or two. Oh, I don't need vaccines.
I'm back healthy, and I only get sick maybe like 2 times a year.
You said that you moved down to California?
Yeah, yesterday.
I'm trying to get out.
Yesterday.
I'm trying to get out of California.
Yeah, no,
so
me
why
too,
did you move to California if it's so hard to go
For sure, yeah. So lived in Texas for like 10 years. Then I moved to Oregon for school. And then I got a job offer as an internship here in California. And honestly, like, yeah, all the mandates and everything I don't like, but I mean, it's California. It's kind of like that kind of the dream to come and live here, so.
I'm trying to switch with you. I want to go to Texas.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't come here. Don't come here. And this isn't just directed at this person. I'm saying to everyone else moving here, don't come here. I don't want you. No more coming into Texas. Other people from other states, especially these California people moving to Texas, go. Stop. No more.
Yeah.
I'll take your old spot. I'll take your own spot.
Yeah.
No. Don't want you. Go away.
He went to university in Oregon and somehow wasn't.
Oregon has voted for the Democratic candidate for president in the last 9 elections.
Required to get vaccinated there.
Why would someone move from a more conservative area to a liberal area if they were anti-vax?
These people are all over the place. These people are all over the place in what they're saying, their logic, their reasons for voting people. It's just honestly, as expected, a fucking madhouse in the imaginary odd one out box.
Bungalow after.
What did he say?
Bungalow after.
I can't tell what he's saying. I'm hearing blah blah after.
Still in the box, and you'd like to continue playing the game, please raise your hand.
Blah blah after. Oh, they want to get more people out.
Can I ask who everybody voted for in the elections?
I voted for. Oh, you're talking about the actual election?
Yes.
Oh, I voted for Trump. Again, like, I'm libertarian. That isn't really my.
Least surprising information learned right now.
I'm not a Republican, but he definitely was a better choice over what we have now.
And it's very, I don't want to say funny, but man, we're getting this, and now, like, here in the States, at least, we're fucking dealing with, you know, last, what, just past 100 days before our next election here, like, national election. Last these next 3 months, dude.
What about everybody else? Yeah, I'm libertarian as well, and I actually believe that neither of the candidates were good, and I did not feel comfortable supporting either of them, so
All right, Jenna.
I did not vote.
Right, I didn't vote either. I haven't voted in like 2 years.
I haven't voted either. I felt really uncomfortable with just how nasty everything was getting. Everything kept getting more increasingly cloudy, I felt like, as the election came closer and closer. So I just didn't feel like I had enough information regarding either of them to confidently cast a ballot.
I get that. I mean, they're both really divisive, but, like, you know, the effects matter. And, like,
The last thing I would want to ever do. If I got picked for it to be in an Odd One Out episode, I do not want to be in the imaginary box when I have this dude, frankly, mansplaining the importance of elections to me after I said I was uncomfortable enough to not vote for either of the two main candidates. The elections matter. The ramifications matter. What does he
I
say?
feel like I had enough
The somethings matter.
regarding either of them to confidently cast a ballot.
I get that. I mean,
I get that. I mean, I get that. That's such an again, I'm not necessarily trying to just pick on this guy, but it's such a like a fucking honest, like, unintentional, like, condescending, like, I get that, but let me go ahead and explain why I think you're just completely bad.
they're both really divisive, but, like, you know, the effects matter.
Effects
and, like, seeing
matter.
especially what's going on now. I mean, we might not like either of the candidates. One of them's getting in. and we got to do our best, you know, to get the least of two evils. I think that is important.
I mean, I personally voted for Trump. I actually worked on his campaign because I actually do. I don't like everything he says, but I like his policies. And I believe that he allows people to live their lives and doesn't try to get involved with all of your business.
Wait, so you said you worked on his campaign? Did you guys didn't have to get vaccinated for that, or?
So that was a 2016 campaign.
2016, okay.
I don't think he would have required it for the 2021, but I worked at the 2016 one, didn't do anything for the 2020.
Asabi, I wanted to ask you more about your stance because we mentioned earlier that in general you don't feel like it's anyone's business.
She's going on the attack. Katie's going on the attack, on the offensive.
Kind of touched on autonomy. I wanted to hear more about why you specifically decide not to vaccinate yourself and your children.
So I grew up very religious, I guess you could say. In my belief, like vaccines are like a no-go. Like we don't believe that we should put like poison in our bodies, and like we think that we should just handle everything in a holistic way. So
She was like, religious reason? Is she thinking about this on the spot?
Jenna is so mean. Come on. I mean, it makes sense what she's saying. She's saying religious reasons to keep her out of the vaccines. I mean, it's not the craziest thing. Probably the most... Honestly, again, I disagree with it. But if you're anti-vax because of religious things, and that's how you kind of grew up, and then that's all you really know, and that's the world that you have now are in, and you're not coming out of it, you're already withheld within this religious system, and the religion that has decided to place you in this system is vaccines are bad. It makes sense. Again, disagree, but like that's more than fucking Nico being like, yeah, it's a God, I keep forgetting the term. A pandemic. Jesus.
And 1 Corinthians 2:5 says, you know, our faith.
Oh no.
She was like, religion?
The second thing, the first thing, I don't want to be mansplained the importance of voting in a general election in the odd one out box. The second one is I don't want people quoting Bible verses at me.
Religious?
That would be bad.
Is she thinking about this on the spot?
And 1 Corinthians 2:5 says, you know, our faith shouldn't be trusted in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God.
Exactly.
And so for me, it's like, that doesn't mean that like man has.
Thanks, Mason. That really brought a lot to the table. Your fucking Bible quote. Bible verse. How many people, when they quote Bible verses, do you think they're just trying to do it to, like, show off? It's just so weird. It's so weird to me. It's so weird. It's so off-putting to me. It's so weird. It's weird, right? Like, you know, if it just is, and then it's like, whatever. Like, what, am I supposed to impress? Because, again, because you have a good memory, you can remember this thing, or you think that, like, and it's weird because it's not like, in theory, it's either super planned out, like he brought that to here knowing he was going to probably pull it out, and that's awkward, and that's weird that he's like, oh, I'm really going to pull this one out, or am I to assume that they have Bible verses up the wazoo and they're like ready to fucking say millions of them? How many Bible verses are there? Millions! Millions of them just at whatever spot. Like, it's so bizarre to me.
As ultimate wisdom.
I've been on this episode forever, and we still have like 7 minutes left. It's my fault.
This is what you need to do. Like, that automatically throws red flags for me.
He used a Bible verse for me that was like, okay, he believes in kind of like the same thing I believe in. Biblically speaking, for me, it's like back when, you know, in pharaohs, in those days, they were killing babies. And then with the vaccine, it's like, I just don't trust it because you're trying to...
We're bringing back the pharaohs.
You mandate something that could possibly harm or kill someone. And it's just like...
That's such bullshit. I'm sorry, that kind of line of thinking doesn't hold a ton of water for me. I mean, they would probably argue that there's certain studies that give them, their opinion, more strength or whatever. But you're saying like, oh, it's ridiculous for them to mandate a vaccine that could possibly kill them, when the other side could just as easily be like, if you don't get a vaccine, your chance of death by something that the vaccine possibly could have prevented or helped prevent, or if multiple people get the vaccine, then it helps prevent certain illnesses strengthening and, you know, propagating. You could make the same argument that the vaccine, not getting the vaccine, potentially harms, again, unselfishly, not only your own child, but other people out in the world. But again, how am I going to make the argument? The problem is, again, I don't want to generalize everyone, but most anti-vaxxers probably are not looking out for anyone other than themselves. They're probably a very selfish thinking group of people in general. And that's just not the type of person I am. But so again, me saying, oh, you know, if you get a vaccine, not only is it, you know, potentially help you, but also it's the biggest goal of vaccines is to prevent an illness from propagating amongst the population. And that wouldn't, most people, or I guess most people like this that have this line of thinking aren't thinking like that, aren't concerned about another person. So, but couldn't possibly be me.
I know how much Big Pharma puts money in this
And the left for
constantly.
so long has been, oh, we're against Big Pharma.
I was
And then
gonna
all of a
say
sudden they
that.
jump
I was
in and
gonna
it's like,
say that.
everyone needs to listen to what Pfizer says. Everyone needs to listen to what Moderna and J&J says.
She said that she was very much into the pharmaceutical industry.
She kind of said she wasn't very political, and I feel like at this point...
I almost forgot who the three people I picked were. Orange shirt, white shirt lady, and guy who got out in the first round.
It is kind of a political statement if you are not vaccinated.
Goodbye. The one thing I do feel like we're eliminating the, in my opinion, the most obnoxious, outwardly obnoxious people. We just need to get rid of Mason, and then I think we've gotten rid of the top 4 annoying people.
You feel like the mall is still in
So,
the
hey.
house and you'd like to continue playing the game.
Let's get Mason out, guys. Do it for me.
Are you driving way less than
Oh shit. Are you driving way less? Are you driving way less?
If you feel like the mall
Lower your
is still in
rates.
the box and you'd like to continue playing the game, please raise your hand.
Oh.
You need a majority vote, and since it's just the 2 of you, instead we're gonna ask, can you share your suspicions? Let's air it out and let
Oh, we're pulling something new out for all run out. You know what? Yeah. Air out your suspicions. That's fun.
That's number 1.
Yeah.
Just because I think he was throwing out buzzwords, like he developed a character.
And he also talked about how he didn't have to get the vaccine at first in Oregon.
Go to college in Oregon.
I was pretty confident it was Nico. I don't know who the other person would be. I don't suspect anyone else.
I think it was Ryan too, honestly, because Ryan, when he first said, this is the first COVID test I've ever taken. I trust you. I do trust you, but you do seem very much like you've researched a lot.
Neither of you guys voted also in the election, you said, correct?
Right.
I do find that kind of interesting just because I feel like it is so polarized.
I'm totally with you on that mentality, but like just being around a lot of libertarian circles, there are a lot of people, and you guys both kind of said you're libertarian, right?
I honestly don't really have a strong political view, honestly.
Where we are now in the world, it almost is a statement to not be vaccinated. Now it's not just like, oh, I wasn't provided enough information. You can go to CVS and get it for free. So you are kind of making a political statement whether you like it or not if you aren't vaccinated.
I assume most of us don't agree with the mainstream media or like watch a lot of that because obviously there's a narrative that's pushed there. So I was gonna ask what
This music, this backing track they have to this is just very funny to me. It's like a low drone, like.
type of media outlets do you guys
I follow the Daily Wire, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. Those are
What
probably-
ass P word?
So I was gonna
God.
ask what type of media outlets do you guys?
Now the editors are getting a little too cute. I didn't want to hear Ben Shapiro's voice
I
in my ear holes.
follow the the Daily Wire, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. Those are probably like the people I listen to the most.
I really hope. I now I really want the fucking fakes to win the money. If there's any justice in this world.
I had a little bit of trouble with because Ben Shapiro has really like promoted vaccines.
Yeah, I
do like
I
Candace,
disagree with that part.
I like
yeah.
Candace Owens, but yeah, I don't know. I've kind of gone on and off of Ben Shapiro. But I like Steven Crowder. I like Dr. Robert Malone, Hank Pecker. There's a lot of different. Like I do like.
I
Candace,
disagree with that part.
I like
yeah.
Candace Owens, but yeah, I don't know. I've kind of gone on and off of Ben Shapiro. But I like Steven Crowder. I like Dr. Robert Malone, Hank Pecker. There's a lot of different streamers and media outlets that I think do push a more like you should be able to.
Fuck, dude. Get him out. Get Mason out of the box, please. For me. Do it for me.
She worked in the medical
Personally.
field, and that is an area where you
Expeditiously.
have to
Eliminate.
be vaccinated.
I think being anti-vax is a big political statement, so that looked a little off to me.
Oh, Katie.
I was pretty bummed. I thought I had spoken pretty well about my beliefs, so I was surprised.
If the lights turn red, that means a mole is still in the box.
Please turn red. I don't even care about my own victory. I for once in maybe the whole odd one out, I actually care about who wins the money. And less about my own victory. It's a first time in this whole series. I think this is the 36th or 37th stream of odd one out we've done.
And you lose.
Please turn red.
Turn green.
If there's any justice.
You have voted the mole out.
I want the faker to get money.
And you
Please! I want that guy to have a very sad. Yeah! 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 Celebrating like a fucking my sports team just won a game. Yes! Oh, he's already he's gonna lunch.
No, it's not me.
Pissed.
It's you.
They're all pointing. They're all like, it's not me. I mean, you're gonna find out in like 5 seconds. Why? I mean,
It's gotta be you.
I think it's Maddie.
So on the count of 3, I'm gonna ask the 2 moles to step out.
oh, if it's red, if the moles win and I win, we're celebrating.
And reveal themselves.
We're celebrating hard. I have to get it right. The problem is, for me to have gotten it right, it would have to been orange. What's her name? Asobi? Team Asobi? Makers of Astrobot? It would have to be her and then white. One of them.
1, 2.
Come on. Oh, I was half. He went for the constantly talking strat. He went for the I'm going to dictate the, and like over talk. And I don't want to say no one no one caught on or anything, but it just threw him off completely. They're utter shock.
I should have known it was Mason.
Going into it, I was like, okay, he and I are in we have an alliance. Like, we're good. He definitely sold me, so, well done, my friend.
I'm very politically engaged, so I've had a lot of conversations with people just about, whether or not people should get vaccines, whether or not there should be government mandates, that type of thing. I've heard a lot of opinions on both sides. My goal here was to kind of just be really subtle about it and to kind of just sow doubt.
One word I would not use would be subtle, but whatever works, man.
In the vaccine, not really take a hard stance of pandemic or microchips, that extreme wing, because I don't think anyone really here is on that, spectrum.
Honestly.
Well, he doesn't think anyone's on that spectrum yet. That is literally the terms this guy Nico was using. He opened by saying plandemic. So what do you mean you don't think anyone here? You heard it in earshot. He said it. This is what he thinks.
I said that because I was trying to get some points because I thought, like, if I say plandemic, I'm good to go.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm a pharmacist. I actually was a part of the initial movement to vaccinate. I went to nursing homes, put vaccine in arms. A big part of my experience with that is
I got half. I mean, it's still a less on my part, but like, I at least picked out her. I picked 3 people, so I at least got half. We don't consider half victories around here.
is just seeing how
These anti-vaxxers are so unserious. Why are they so stoked to have been made clowns of? That's what I was saying. I mean, we've been on this episode now for long because I kept pausing, but like, if there's one silver lining to this episode, a frustrating listen, I was like, the anti-vaxxers hopefully don't win the money, and then also they're like, oh man, it was so easy to just sound like an idiot, and we thought we could see someone like us.
of a toll COVID has taken on my fellow healthcare workers. I have people that work in the ED and see how tragic that is.
Good on her for her acting skills. Well, I'll say her acting skills, in retrospect, not that great. But good on her for coming now out and being like, no, I've seen, you know.
My closest friends actually lost their father to COVID. There's a lot of data in medicine that I question all the time. As a person of color and as a woman, I know how much the data is against people like me being treated. But the vaccine is something that I've seen time and time again that I don't typically question. The data just stands for me, so I stand with it. I really do understand why a lot of people are concerned with how far can government reach.
Yeah, they don't need any more money.
And what does that mean for the common people? Where do we draw the line? I think that is genuinely a super important conversation to have.
Most people who are skeptical of the vaccine are either consuming that from certain media outlets or just people that are around them really pushing that idea. If we, as people who think vaccines are important, don't actually interact with them, they're just kind of stuck in that bubble, and that's not helpful for anybody. High fives around. High fives around.
Now, the unfortunate thing, that means the first guy that got eliminated, the guy in the white here in the cap, he was just as dumb as he portrayed himself to be. That was not an act, unfortunately. So that's, you know, an unfortunate truth there. But yeah, what a personally frustrating watch on a couple things. But again, it's that thing where it's like, I can't get too mad because I'm now a fucking adult and I've been in the adult world now for several years. I know there are people like this and worse constantly. So like, I'm not in shock. I can't sit here and be like, oh, I can't believe there are people like this, when like that's what it's been forever now. You know, I can only so much choose to not listen to people like this and their bad brain words. But I was gonna make that joke too, right? I was trying to think. I couldn't think of like a good way to word it or anything, but I was like, you know, at the very beginning, they were like, oh, all these people before they got into the box, they had to be tested or whatever. I was like, hopefully, like, high fives all around, and then it's like, I hope they have, like, fucking Germ-X or something sprays. Wait, does only this guy get money? Does not the team of the moles get the money? What about the lady? Is it only him because he survived? I guess that makes some sense. But also, I don't know. I'm always, see, these are like the things to these episodes where I really want to know like more. I want to know if like the two moles knew each other, or if they'd say like, yeah, like this is the other person who's not anti-vax. So you potentially don't go after them for whatever reason or try to sow doubt, whatever the case is. I'm always curious. I'm never going to get these answers. I need a Jubilee hookup.
I love this. I'm always ready.
No, but I will say, good on this guy. He had the annoying cadence of like an anti-vaxxer down. The talking points, the annoying, like, you know, talking about being a libertarian. I think he was maybe in quite some time one of the best, like, well-researched and how do I want to put it? Like, knew how to not overact. I said he took control of the conversation throughout each round, and it didn't backfire, which is good. The whole him being like a teacher and the kids thing sounded convincing enough, so good on him. Deserves the money. Play those anti-vaxxers. I don't know. If this video concluded with the group of anti-vaxxers playing around with the money and shit, I would hate to admit it, but I would be a little more pissed off about this whole thing, about my night. If at the end of this video it was the lot of them, the anti-vaxxers here with a pile of money, I'd have been like, this is how I know there's not a God. This is how I know. They wouldn't have put me through this. That's how I know. Frustrating. Not as it's that 15-minute episode took forever to watch because I was just pausing throughout the whole thing. All right, I do want to get to Ninja Storm 4 here. I gotta put time. If I don't keep that train going, I gotta just I'm gonna slow down and find excuses not to play it. So I'm gonna throw up a BRB really quick, and then I'm going to get that loaded up. So I'll be back very shortly. I need what BRB screen? Let's go with this. All right, I'll be back.